Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is a special one. This is the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Battle Packs Wave 2. This is the Mighty Morphin Yellow Ranger versus the Mighty Morphin Scorpina. Now the difference with this Yellow Ranger is that this is actually the Aisha version, not the Trini version, which was released in the regular Wave 3 by itself. I don't know if this figure is any different in terms of the sculpt, the helmet, or any of that, so I'll be doing a comparison so we could see if there is any differences. But Scorpina, I think, is of course the highlight of this pack. You know, one thing that Bandai never really did in any of the collector lines is they didn't do any of the villains, and I think Scorpina was one that people really wanted and just never got. And then here Hasbro comes along, they start making some really cool figures. You know, they're not for everybody, but then they announce a Scorpina, so that is just really awesome. So I'm excited to take a look. Here we have the awesome artwork there. And it does wrap around to the side. Looking at the back, we get the digital render of the two going head-to-head fighting. So all that there. I did get mine from Entertainment Earth. They did send out like the full cases. So I did have one, and I also have the In Space 2-pack, the Blue Ranger and Psycho Silver. So I will be reviewing that one next. So here we go. Let's get this out of the box. Okay, so here's Scorpina and Aisha out of the package. And really nice. Scorpina is an awesome figure. There's some really cool things on there. It's disappointing that, again, we still get single jointed elbows on female figures in the Power Rangers Lightning Collection line. Hopefully now with G.I. Joe, Marvel Legends doing double jointed elbows, maybe we'll see that start to transition and happen with Power Rangers. It's going to throw it all off of all the female Rangers that we have gotten so far with single jointed elbows. But this is definitely an awesome set that's jam-packed with all kinds of accessories, as you can see here. So we get a couple of these blast effect pieces here. These are going to be for Aisha's daggers. 2 blast effects for 2 daggers. And speaking of daggers, here we have them here, and these look really good. We have a very nice shiny metallic silver paint that's used for the blade sections and for like the power coin looking spot. These look really nice. I will do a comparison with the previously released ones to see if they are any different. We get 2 extra hands for Aisha, as you can see here. Here we have kind of a trigger finger hand for her left. It's going to be kind of like the to use for the blaster. She also has the straight out karate chop hand for her left. The right, she has like the trigger hand, and then the other one for the right is kind of the same thing. They're very similar hands, as you can see there, but there is some difference. One is going to be more for holding the dagger. This one's going to be more for the blaster. So those are the hands for Aisha. Next, Scorpina also gets a pair of interchangeable hands. I've already switched them out. These are the hands that come on the figure out of the package, but she has this holding hand for her right, a fist for her right as well. This open gesturing hand for her left, and then just this open holding hand for her left here. And it's nice because it's done in this gold plastic with a little bit of red on the inside, and you can see that on the open gesture hand as well. Going back to Aisha, here we have the Blade Blaster, and what I have to go back and look at all the accessories to see if the paint matches on this, because Hasbro is known for their inconsistency when it comes to some of these accessories and the details. But this one, I think this is only the second time we've gotten the Blade Blaster with the blade actually extended out. I think the first one was with the season 3 Zack figure. Season 2 Zack figure, the Black Ranger. I think he was the first to come with the blade out, so I'll have to double check that, but this is now a second time that we're getting it, and that looks really good. She also has the other blaster that's already ready to go to shoot, and I think, again, some of them had like silver paint on here, so the paint apps are kind of wonky and all over the place when it comes to these, so I'll take a look and see kind of how that compares to the Trini figure that we had gotten released. We have this purple lightning effect that comes with Scorpina, and I guess it's going to be to use this. We've seen this with like regular swords. What Scorpina has is not a regular sword. I don't even know what to call it. If you guys know what it might be oh, well, actually kind of work out really cool and do some cool things. So here is how it looks. You can see it's sculpted nicely. It's got some nice detail in there. We actually get a little bit of a wash over this gray plastic, so that looks really good. You know, Hasbro tends to do that cheap-ass gray plastic that I absolutely hate, that's like damn near translucent. But here we get this nice darker color to it, and then it's got a wash all over it. So this just looks really good in my opinion. That is really nice. So that's it for the accessories. And of course, out of the package, she has the helmet on, but then we have the Aisha Campbell head sculpt on there. I did a quick comparison just in my hand looking at them, and these look to be the same exact head sculpts. They are not different. What is different, however, is the shade of yellow. So before we get into the closer look at the Aisha and Scorpina figures, here are the two Yellow Ranger figures, and you could see, I'm not sure how well on camera you're going to see it, but the new one, the Aisha figure, is a much brighter yellow, whereas the Trini yellow is more of a matte color, kind of a flatter yellow, which I actually like a lot more. I love this color yellow as compared to this one. This one's just a little bright. It's not bad. It just doesn't look as good in my opinion. I think this one looks so much better. And then the diamonds also look to be a little different in shape. But the Aisha looked to be a little bit larger. Aisha's belt is a little bit higher up, but that would just take some adjusting to. But her morpher is painted and so much nicer than Trini's was, because this one, Trini's was bad, like real bad. Aisha's came out real nice looking. So there we go. So let's take a closer look at Aisha first, then we'll take a closer look at Scorpina. Okay, so here is the close-up look at the Aisha head sculpt. It's funny that in package, I thought it looked fantastic. It really looked like the actress and everything. Having it out of package and looking at it, I don't think so nearly as much. And a couple of reasons for that is I've always kind of felt that the female figures had too small of a frame. And it's very evident here with Aisha because her head just looks too big for the figure. Side profile doesn't look so bad, but here it just looks a little too big because the figure body is just too narrow. I think it should be a little bit wider because I think that'd be a little bit more, you know, realistic to an actual person's body. But because of that, it looks a little big, and I think it sits a little too high on the neck. There's not a lot of play, and it was kind of a pain to really force on there. So it just, yeah, it just does. It sits a little high. You know, it's funny. Like either the helmets will sit too low, and then heads will sit too high. There's like no in between. But, you know, the paint on there is nice. The face looks good. The earrings on there, even the scrunchie up at the top, came out looking pretty good. But, you know, Hasbro's had a really tough time nailing these likenesses for a lot of the older seasons. And while I think this is a strong effort, I don't think it's the greatest that Hasbro has done. But let's pop that off, and let's take a look at the helmeted head. Oh, yeah, pop that on, and there we go. In comparison with like the original release, there's not a whole lot that's actually going to be different. The silver looks a little bit brighter, a little bit shinier, and then it goes a little bit wider on that mouthpiece as compared to the first one. As you can see, like that lip right there, just on the outside of the silver, it got painted over on the new version. But yeah, not a huge difference. Here you could probably really see the different yellow, different shades in yellow, and then the different size of the diamonds on the chest there. But anyway, looking at the original Trini release, look how bad that morpher was. That looked real bad, right? But look at Aisha's here. That came out looking really good. Now I can't really make out the saber tooth and the power coin there, but that's a hell of a lot better than what we got here, which just looked like a absolute mess. So I like the way that came out looking. And then the rest of the figure, not a whole lot going on. The diamonds look to be painted pretty nicely. No issues whatsoever going on there. So that is Aisha, the Yellow Ranger. Now the highlight of the 2-pack. Let's not be mistaken here. Scorpina is absolutely the highlight because this figure is awesome. The detail is crazy. Looking at the head sculpt, she looks pretty good. She actually does look Asian. She got some almond-shaped eyes there. A little bit of slant to them. The headdress looks pretty good. It's all kind of casted in that gold plastic. We get some red paint up there. We get some black, some more red, brown for her hair. That just looks really nice. I like the way it looks. Under her neck there, or around her neck, is some armor pieces. It's done with a nice silver, and it's got a wash over it. Looks really good. Some of the armor pieces, we get some silver in there. The armor over here over her chest is molded in that gold plastic color. It looks like these are separate pieces. It's actually glued on there. Looking at the rest of her body, look at the sculpted detail there. Looks absolutely fantastic. But I love that there's a wash over that silver. just looks really, really nice. The sculpted detail is done so nicely. Here on the back, not a whole lot, but we do get some silver painted on in there. Silver armband there. Here on her wrist, get a little bit of turquoise, looks like some kind of gem or jewel there as well. Red painted on the inside, we get some black bands there. I thought this was funny because the paint actually looks kind of sloppy. The yellow over here, it just doesn't look real clean in that area. I'm thinking, well, why the hell did they even paint that yellow? Shouldn't it have been the skin tone color? But I looked up images. No, it was in fact yellow up to her elbow. So that is actually accurate. It just looks kind of funky, and that's just more the paint quality that they did there is just not as good as it should be or you would hope to be. And then on top of that, the chest. So not the butterfly joint, not the arm, but her chest where the skin tone is, that flesh color is paint. So it's not the greatest because it looks like the base plastic is black, and so they had to paint the skin tone over, and of course there's going to be some bleeding through in some areas, and it just doesn't look the cleanest. From far away it does not look bad, but it is a little bit more noticeable when you're zoomed in or having it in hand and looking at it. We get a little bit more silver here on her legs, and then some gold armor pieces going up her entire left leg there. Her boots are crazy. Again, just molded gold plastic, no paint applied to them, but it's done nicely. It's got a metallic sheen to it. You know, you can see some marbleization, but it all looks really good. Such a great figure. I think Hasbro did a fantastic job with this. Okay, so for articulation, we'll try to go through it as quickly as possible since we have two figures. Aisha can look down that much without the helmeted look. She can look all the way up. That is really cool. One thing I didn't really notice until now is my Aisha got some yellow paint right there on the side of her face. So that kind of sucks. Not that big of a deal. I didn't really notice it at first, but then when you turn the head, I'm like, oh shit, it's right there. Pop. The helmeted head, that's kind of a pain in the ass to get on there, but Yellow Ranger, she can look down that much. She can look up very little because it sits so far low on the neck. The helmet hits her back. You get a rotation in there, just some pivot. Shoulder goes up all the way out like so. Get a full rotation in there. We have a butterfly joint, so crazy movement going back. I don't remember any of the other ones really going back that far. That's kind of crazy. Right? And then coming forward, not a whole lot, but some. You get a swivel at the elbow, single jointed elbow, so we get 90-degree bend there. We have the diaphragm joint, so she can pivot to her left that much, not a whole lot. Pivot to her right a little bit. She can get the pivot to go back slightly, not a whole lot, but you use that that inverted ab crunch there, so she could go back all the way that much using the diaphragm joint and the ab crunch. She can come forward this much, and I wonder if the belt is getting in the way. I tried to move that belt down a little bit. It definitely seems to be a tighter fit than what we got with Trini, even though I guess it sits in the right spot. It just looks a little bit smaller, maybe. I'm not sure. I can't tell. I mean, this one looks so much better, so maybe it is a new one, but it just sits a little bit higher, and I can't really move it down. Hasn't really worked out too well for me. Legs go out that far apart. She can kick forward only that much. Doesn't really go back. Upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed knee like so. Boot swivel. Foot hinges down. Get some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So that is Aisha, the Yellow Ranger. Now for Scorpina, let's see what she can do. She can look down somewhat. She can't look up because the hair is going to hit her back, so that is not going to work. You get some rotation in there, but the hair is going to get in the way. Not really a whole lot of pivot going on in the neck. Her right arm, you can get the shoulder to go out that much. Left arm is a little bit different. She has this shoulder pad here. I wish it were like Iron Man figures to where that shoulder pad would move with the arm. It does not. So you could kind of flex it up and then get that shoulder to come straight out. You can do a full rotation, but then you have to watch out for the shoulder armor, and that just gets in the way. So I don't recommend doing that, but it is there. There is a butterfly joint, so you can get the arm to go back that much. Not really a whole lot forward. Same on the right side, but it seems to be quite stiff and not. There it goes. There we can get it to work. So the butterfly joints are fantastic on her. Diaphragm joints, she could pivot to her left that much. She can pivot to her right that much, a little bit more. She can go back actually quite a bit. She can come forward a little bit. I see it like there's like a white piece of plastic and they're holding it all together. There is a rotation at that diaphragm joint, which I forgot to mention for the Yellow Ranger, right? That's where her twist is going to come in, at the diaphragm joint. And then she also has the same inverted ab crunch. So going forward, in total, Scorpina can move forward that much. Still not a whole lot, actually, but going back is like an insane amount there. Legs go out that far apart. She can kick forward that much, and that's with the armor, so that's actually pretty good. Without the armor, it's about the same, maybe a little bit higher. There is an upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed knee like so. Let's see if there's a boot swivel in there. There is a boot swivel. Look at that. Boot swivel, ankle pivot. Not ankle pivot. It hinges down. Doesn't really hinge up because the top of the boot, that armor plate, hits the shin guard part of the boot, so you don't really get a whole lot of play going up. But ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Not the greatest of articulation, but I do think it is solid. I really like this figure, guys. Man, Hasbro killed it. They did a fantastic job with Scorpina. So speaking of Scorpina, oftentimes she is fighting alongside Goldar. I think in one episode they confirmed that they had some kind of relationship or they were dating. I am not familiar with the Super Sentai series at all. Like, I don't even know what that series was officially titled, and I know that's probably shame on me for not even knowing that. Zoo Ranger? Zayu Ranger? I don't even know. But I think in there, weren't they married or something? I don't know. You guys correct me down in the comments below. But those two actually look really nice together. The golds are a little bit different. We get this crazy like orangish brown wash over Goldar. But they are similar golds, in fact. And here is Scorpina next to Rita. And I can't wait to add more monsters in part of Rita's team, right? We got Finster coming. That's going to be the Amazon exclusive. I'm very excited for that. Now we need Babu and Frick, right? Is it Frick? Was Frick his name? We definitely need them, and I'm gonna be mad if we get Finster and not them. Like, I get Finster is more important, but you know, we needed that comic relief, right? So we need those guys to round out everyone from Rita's team. We also need Rito Revolto, or whatever her brother's name was. He was definitely in the later end of the season, probably season 3. But there are all the figures that look together. If you notice in this shot, Yellow Ranger is probably a little bit closer to the light, but that yellow plastic that they use is really, really bright. But man, these are all looking really good together. Just look at these three together, and wow. I know Super 7 just kind of showed off a Rita figure. I don't know if it was a digital render or what it was, and it looked really good, of course. But that figure's also going to be twice the price. And I want to kind of stay away from doing any of the Super 7 stuff. They look really good. They look like recreations of the old toys, which is cool. The accessories look pretty awesome, but $55 a figure is what's really scaring me on that. But here, like this, it's what, 42 or 43 or whatever the price is for the 2-packs now with the price increase. But man, solid release on Scorpina. Definitely made it worth it. Didn't need another Yellow Ranger, but it's nice to have Aisha. Even though we are going to get the metallic version of the Yellow Ranger, we'll have an Aisha head. But it's going to have the different points in time of Aisha, like one with the braided hair, and then here with the ponytail look. So lots of Power Rangers figures, and I'm very excited for them all. Before I move on with the video, I do want to address the Blade Blaster. The Black Ranger from the previous wave, the regular release, is the only other figure to have it with the blade out. The folded Blade Blaster, like if it were to just look like this, we've only gotten that with, I think it was just actually the 2-pack, the San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack with Jason, the Zeo Gold and Red Ranger with Dragon Shield. I think that's the only time we got it. Ranger Slayer had the same thing, but were different colors. But the upcoming cell-shaded Pink Ranger will actually have the bladed version and then the folded version that would actually be the proper way to store it in the holster for these figures. Next is the 2 daggers that came with the Yellow Ranger. This one is the one that came with the Trini version. This one is the one that came with the Aisha version. Same silver that's added in there, so that's the same. The yellows are different, and the yellows actually match more so to the figure. So a brighter yellow hilt for Aisha versus the darker yellow hilt for Trini. One thing with Trini's blaster, it is painted the same as Aisha's blaster, so there is consistency there, so nothing to worry about between those two. Okay, so here we have Trini and Aisha side by side. Now, they weren't technically officially on screen together at the same time. There was a body double used for Trini during that whole power transfer storyline and all that jazz, or whatever it was that was going on. But so they weren't on screen together. But notice how Trini's head sits much lower on that neck than compared to the Aisha, which also really contributes to Aisha's head just looking a little too large. Trini's hair also goes the entire width of the body to kind of hide the fact that the head is big. It just hides it with the hair. So I think Aisha just kind of has all that working against it. So as you can see, like, you know, side by side, her head just sits way higher, but you know, essentially the same figure. Okay, and as you can see, Scorpina with those two open holding hands, she can hold her sword boomerang thing. I don't even know what it's called, but she can hold it quite nicely in either hand, because each hand kind of has the fingers kind of positioned in the same formation there. That looks pretty good. And then if you wanted to use like the lightning effect to kind of go over the blade in certain areas, how did I do this before? I kind of did that, so you can have her, you know, using the effect, you know, against Aisha or whoever she's using it against, and that works out quite nicely actually. These blast effects here, like with the dagger, where is it? It's hard to see because the plastic, no, there's a big old open section right there, so you can kind of put that in at the edge, so you know when she's hitting somebody, it's doing that blast effect, like right? So that's how you work those effects. So just now getting around to almost finished the video and didn't even show this to see how Scorpina looks up against some of the male Rangers. She's about the same height, so that is actually really cool. Man, they're just, such an awesome figure. Okay, and there is my review of the Scorpina and Aisha Mighty Morphin Yellow Ranger 2-pack. I think it's absolutely a solid 2-pack. Scorpina by herself would have been even better, but if they're going to do a 2-pack, I guess it makes sense to get another Ranger that has not yet been released, right? Adam has been released, although it wasn't the Mighty Morphin version, but we got Adam, we got Rocky. Now it's time for Aisha. Tanya will come in the Zeo Yellow, which some people have actually already gotten. So a solid release. I'm very happy with it. I think Scorpina is actually one of the best female figures that Hasbro has released in the Power Rangers Lightning Collection line. But you guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts. Are you getting excited for this Scorpina figure? What do you think of it? I think it is great. Aisha is really good as well. You guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts. I'll include links in the video description below for like Entertainment Earth where I got mine. It still says, I think, October release for like the full case, which comes with two of this 2-pack and then two of the In Space Blue and Psycho Silver 2-pack. But solid release for sure. I'm extremely happy with it. Yeah, so thank you for watching. But, you know, if you guys like the video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks, guys.